You can see right here, these carrots, they're still very green, very pretty. There's a ladybug right there. Anyway, they're very green, very pretty, and they still look quite healthy. So I just wanted to give you this little tip here. Whenever you go to harvest your carrots, if you don't know, if they're big enough since they're in the ground, what I do, when I go to harvest one, I just find the base of it, so right here, and I'll just take my finger and move the soil away. And that's, in my opinion, hang on, trying to look through a leaf here. In my opinion, that's a pretty small carrot. So you can either let it grow longer if you want, just cover it up, otherwise it'll kind of sunburn. But if you are fine with that size, then you can go ahead and pull it. So I'm gonna just feel around here. That one's, it's a decent size, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull it. So I just reach at the base and I make sure I get all the leaves, and I just wiggle and pull it up. So you can see it's a good size as far as a width goes. It's not too long, but all right, it's definitely not as big as our other ones we've already harvested on. So that one's pretty small still. I mean, it's okay. I just like for them to be bigger. So let me show you in here, right here. You can see, looks like this one got uprooted a little bit. So we'll go ahead and take this one out. You can see how it kind of discolors when it's exposed to the sun. Let's see if we can find some more. So something else I have noticed is that if you don't thin the carrots, sometimes they will do this. You can see where these three were pretty close together, and because they're growing out, they're actually pushing each other out of the ground. So these aren't going to get any better, and it is the middle of August. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these. Now these little tiny ones, I will probably just leave these in the ground and let them go to seed next year. So making my way through all this greenery, you see one here. It's a pretty decent width. So we're going to go ahead and pull it. And it is a pretty good size. That's a big carrot. We're going to go ahead and just finish harvesting these. These were also right next to that big one. So I'm just going to harvest what I can here, and these little guys, I'm just going to leave them and let them go to flower next year to collect the seeds. Whenever I go to get the carrots out of the garden, I showed you how I pull them up, and then after I've pulled them all up, I go through them one by one while I'm still outside, and I just take my fingers and just remove any of the brown leaves on them, and then I just take the top and I just run my hand through it to help knock off any extra brown leaves, because I bring this whole thing inside. Okay, and then I just rub my hand around the carrot, and I just kind of pick off these little hair roots. And then if there are any other roots growing like this, I just pick them off too. Anyhow, so that's how I clean them before I actually bring them inside. And just so you know, you can also eat the carrot tops. I don't really recommend the very tough ones, but like, earlier in the season when you have the new growth, the very small, tender greens, you can eat those. You can stir fry them, saute them, put them in soup, put them in a smoothie. You can eat them anyway. Earlier, sorry, my daughter's weed eating. That's the noise you hear. Earlier I mentioned how you can also eat the carrot tops, especially when they're young and tender. They're pretty good. But I did want to go ahead and just briefly mention that anytime you cut any top off of anything, no matter if it's a tomato or an apple or a carrot or anything, you always want to leave part of the stem, because if you cut it flat off, flush with the fruit that you are eating, then the fruit or the vegetable, actually goes bad faster. So if you just leave, you know, about half an inch or so of the top, it will stay fresher longer. Alright, so we have all the carrots cleaned off as far as we're going to outside. Now they are ready to take inside. But I wanted to show you over here that sometimes whenever carrots are planted too close, some of them will kind of grow into each other, kind of wrap around each other. That's okay. Also sometimes they'll just split on their own. And here's another one. So the very first year that we grew carrots, we had them in a short area to where they didn't have quite enough space to grow down. But since then, we've been planting them in this bed, and it's deep enough for them. I think it's about 10 inches deep, and we get these straight, nice looking carrots. Okay, but sometimes whenever they're growing, instead of growing straight down, they'll hit something, like it could be a rock or whatever. They'll hit something and they kind of split at times. But it's okay, you can still eat these too. Just pull off these bottom roots. It's pretty tough. You can just pull off these bottom roots and just the top, and you have a little carrot. Thank you for watching.